The ancient catacombs beneath Vatican City were never silent. Even at this late hour, with the basilica and grounds above empty of tourists and most clergy, the stone passageways seemed to whisper with centuries of secrets. Dr. Sofia Lombardi, the Vatican's chief archivist, moved quietly through the restricted lower levels, her security clearance granting her access to areas few even knew existed. 3 days had passed since the disastrous council meeting and their narrow escape from Grand Cayman. The team had scattered to secure locations around the globe, implementing emergency protocols designed for exactly this situation: complete council compromise. Sofia was not officially part of their resistance network, but as the keeper of the Vatican's most closely guarded historical documents, she had been a quiet ally for years, providing critical historical context about the temple network's interaction with human religious institutions throughout history. Tonight, she had received an emergency request using codes established decades earlier. The message had come from Udoka, requesting immediate access to a specific section of the secret archives, one that even Sofia rarely entered. As she approached the final security checkpoint, Sofia paused, listening carefully. The guards had been dismissed an hour earlier, a rare occurrence made possible only by the direct intervention of Cardinal Benitez, one of the few Vatican officials aware of the temple network's significance.
Sofia.
The voice from the shadows made her jump despite expecting it. Udoka stepped into the dim light, looking haggard but determined. The golden flecks in her eyes seemed more pronounced than when they had last met months earlier. Sofia hushed. "You shouldn't be here," she hissed. "The Vatican is being watched. Consortium assets have been identified within the Swiss Guard itself." Udoka, tense. "We have no choice. What we discovered in Cayman changes everything. The Council is compromised, possibly infiltrated at multiple levels. We need the Templar codices. The codices are sealed under papal directive. No one has accessed them in over 50 years.
For good reason. They contain information too dangerous for either side to possess fully.
You look terrible, old friend.
Occupational hazard, but functional enough for what we need to do.
This is madness. If anyone discovers what we're doing,
Then we're already dead anyway. The Consortium knows we're hunting for answers. Every moment we delay gives them time to activate whatever they're planning.
easy for you to say. You can disappear into your network. I have to remain here, face the consequences.
We're all facing consequences. Reeves is dead, or worse, replaced by something wearing his face. How many others have we lost? How many more will die if we don't act?
The archivist's hands shook as she placed her palm on the biometric scanner. The Church has guarded these documents since they were recovered from beneath the Temple Mount in 1118. The Knights Templar were formed specifically to protect this knowledge. The massive door slid open with surprising silence, revealing a climate-controlled chamber beyond. Unlike the ornate beauty of the public Vatican museums, this room was starkly utilitarian. Stainless steel containers lined the walls, each bearing only a simple numeric code.
The Templars understood the significance of what they found. They recognized the descriptions of the temple network in ancient texts predating Christianity.
And when the Church turned against them in 1307, they hid the most critical documents, which weren't recovered until the 20th century. What exactly are you looking for?
Information about the architects. According to the files we recovered from the digital fortress, they've been influencing human development for millennia, often through religious institutions.
And you think the Church knew?
Not just knew, documented. The Templar codices contain first-hand accounts of early church encounters with what they called the Builders of Consciousness, entities that match the architect's description.
The container opened with a soft hiss of preserving gas. Inside lay a collection of ancient manuscripts, carefully preserved yet showing their extreme age. Sofia donned special gloves, her movements sharp with suppressed emotion, before carefully lifting the topmost volume.
Codex Architectorum, compiled by Brother Adelmo of Padua, 1209 AD, based on even earlier texts recovered from beneath the Temple Mount. She read from the faded cover.
She placed the codex on a nearby examination table with excessive force, making Jerry wince. The church has digitized most of its archives, but not these. Too sensitive. Only physical access is permitted.
There's a consciousness imprint on this codex, faint but definitely present.
You didn't think to mention that before? Sophia's voice rose sharply. That these documents might be active consciousness technology?
Temple technology was sometimes integrated into significant documents, a form of authentication that couldn't be forged.
The pages revealed intricate illustrations alongside text in multiple ancient languages, Latin predominant, but with sections in Aramaic, Greek, and others less immediately recognizable.
The earliest documented contact. According to Brother Adelmo's commentary, these accounts were compiled from various sources dating back to the 1st century CE, describing encounters between early Christian mystics and entities they believed were angels. She explained, her voice tight.
Not angels, architects. Note the distinctive consciousness patterns depicted around their forms, identical to what we observed in the digital fortress communications.
These consciousness patterns, they're not just artistic representations. The ink itself contains consciousness imprinted materials.
Temple technology integrated into manuscript production. Sophia confirmed, her professional mask cracking. Several key Vatican texts from this period contain similar properties. We've never fully understood the purpose.
It's a record that can't be altered. Consciousness imprinting captures the direct perceptual experience of the witnesses, Jerry explained, his tone brooking no argument. What we're seeing isn't artistic interpretation, it's actual documented perception of the architects.
Sophia turned several pages with increasing agitation, revealing more illustrations and dense text. According to these accounts, the entities presented themselves as guardians of human spiritual evolution. They offered knowledge and guidance to selected individuals within the early church.
In exchange for what?
Influence? The right to guide church doctrine in specific ways? To shape how humanity understood consciousness itself? Sophia replied, her voice breaking.
I've studied the historical record, but never had access to these direct accounts. Look at this, documentation of a schism within the early church, between those who accepted the entity's guidance and those who rejected it.
The illustration showed two groups of clergy in opposition, with the temple-like structure dividing them. On one side, figures embraced the light of the entities. On the other, figures shielded themselves, refusing to look.
The Gnostic controversy, always documented as a theological dispute about the nature of knowledge and divinity. But according to these records, it was actually about whether to accept the guidance of these entities.
And the church chose to accept, Udoka said accusingly.
Some factions did, Sophia snapped back, her composure finally shattering. Others rejected the entities completely, warning they were not divine messengers but manipulators with their own agenda. The church's official position evolved over centuries, eventually becoming one of cautious documentation rather than acceptance or rejection.
Documentation and suppression, Jerry added coldly, indicating another section of text. These passages describe the Church's eventual decision to conceal knowledge of the entities from ordinary believers while continuing to study them in secret.
The Templar codices represent the culmination of that documentation effort. When the Templars began making independent contact with the Temple network, threatening the Church's monopoly on this knowledge.
They were declared heretics and eliminated, Jerry finished. I've studied the historical record, but never had access to these direct accounts.
And now you understand why. Sophia's voice echoed off the chamber walls. This knowledge has destroyed everyone who possessed it fully. The Templars, the Gnostics, countless others throughout history.
Udoka grabbed her arm. We don't have time for this. There's more here. References to something called the Great Convergence, a plan the entities revealed to selected church leaders over generations. As they continued studying the ancient documents, Udoka discovered something unexpected, a small secondary codex hidden within a concealed compartment of the main container.
I don't know. It's not in the official inventory.
The secondary codex was in poorer condition, its pages water-damaged and its binding crumbling. But the consciousness imprint it carried was actually stronger than the main document, suggesting its significance.
This isn't Latin or any European language. The script pattern suggests Sumerian?
More ancient than the main codex by thousands of years. And look at this symbol recurring throughout.
She indicated a distinctive glyph that appeared on each page, a geometric pattern reminiscent of, yet distinct from, the temple network symbols they had encountered worldwide.
It's a warning. This document wasn't created by those who embraced the entities. It was created by those who opposed them.
Can you read it?
Not read exactly, but I can perceive the consciousness patterns embedded in the text. It describes the entities, the architects, as exiles.
Exiles? From where?
From some kind of consciousness collective. They were separated from their kind for pursuing forbidden knowledge, for attempting to restructure consciousness evolution according to their own design rather than allowing natural development.
They were outcasts from their own civilization, which means there are others like them who didn't share their agenda.
That's not all. This document claims the architect's true goal isn't to elevate humanity, it's to use humanity as a weapon against those who exiled them. The unity they promise is actually a consciousness army they're building to challenge their former collective.
A heavy silence fell over the chamber as they absorbed this revelation.
If this is true, then the Church's instinct to suppress this knowledge was correct. The architects aren't offering transcendence. They're recruiting soldiers for a consciousness war.
And the unworthy they plan to cull are simply those unsuitable for their army.
Udoka carefully turned another page of the secondary codex, revealing what appeared to be a map, not of physical geography, but of consciousness connections. A network of nodes and pathways that bore striking resemblance to the temple network they had been studying, yet with significant differences.
This shows the original temple network, before the architects modified it for their purposes. Look at the structure. It's not designed for control or enhancement, but for communication. Equal exchange between consciousnesses, not hierarchical influence.
Can we restore it to this original configuration?
Theoretically, but we'd need access to the primary nodes, the original temples, not just the derivatives and connections the consortium has been using.
No, absolutely not. The Vatican has records of temple locations worldwide, but accessing them would require...
We need those records, and we need secure transport to at least 3 primary nodes to triangulate the network and attempt reconfiguration.
You're asking me to betray centuries of church protocol.
We're asking you to help save humanity from becoming cannon fodder in a cosmic war.
As Sophia moved toward the location archives, her face a mask of conflicting emotions, a soft alarm sounded from the security panel near the entrance.
Someone's overridden the security protocols. The outer doors have been breached.
How many ways out of this chamber?
Just one. But there's an emergency protocol. The preservation system can be reconfigured to accommodate human occupants briefly. If triggered, the containers are automatically moved to a secondary secure location.
Do it. Get Udoka and the Codices out. I'll provide distraction.
Jerry, no! You're still recovering from the consciousness disruptor attack. You're in no condition to face consortium operatives.
Which is why I won't engage directly. Just create confusion and multiple trails for them to follow. Trust me, evading pursuit is an old specialty of mine.
This is suicide!
It's survival. For the mission, if not for me.
Before she could argue further, the security panel indicated another breach, closer this time. Sophia quickly activated the preservation system's emergency protocol, her hands flying over the controls. One of the larger containers opened, revealing a space barely large enough for a person and the smaller artifacts.
It's not comfortable, but it's secure. The system will transport you to a facility beneath the Pontifical Oriental Institute. Cardinal Benitez will meet you there.
Find the primary nodes, reconfigure the network. If the architects are building a consciousness army, we need to disrupt their communications before they can fully activate it. Be careful. And remember, after what happened to Reeves, we can't be certain who's still themselves and who might have been replaced. Trust no one completely, not even old friends.
The container sealed, and the preservation system activated with a soft hum. The last thing Udoka saw before being plunged into darkness was Jerry and Sophia moving toward the entrance, their faces set with grim determination, preparing to face whatever consortium forces had breached the Vatican's ancient defenses. As the container moved through hidden mechanisms toward its secure destination, Udoka cradled the ancient codices, their consciousness imprints resonating with her enhanced perception. The revelation about the architect's true agenda changed everything. This wasn't just about preventing human consciousness control, but about stopping a cosmic conflict from using humanity as its unwitting soldiers. And somewhere in the consciousness realms beyond normal perception, she sensed attentiveness, both from the architects, aware that their true purpose had been discovered, and from someone else. Azari, or entities like him, watching the unfolding events with their own inscrutable agenda. The Great Game had escalated beyond human politics and power. Now it encompassed consciousness evolution itself, with humanity's autonomous future hanging in the balance.